Everything's ready.
Sounds good. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to 22 Panels. This is the podcast that aims to examine, explore, and elevate the medium of comics. I am Tyler, and across the interwebs from me is Tad. Hey, Tad. I like that
Am
head
I
swivel.
Tad?
Yeah, that head swivel right
Am I
there.
am
You
I
were looking
Tad?
at your screen, and then
I
you're...
know. I know. That was on purpose. That was just for you
Oh, that was good.
because we don't do video.
That was good. I like that. It creeped me out because I was looking at you, and then all of a sudden your head just...
Am I Tad? Oh yeah, I'm Tad. Hello, everybody.
Oh, happy Saturday.
Happy. Can you tell it's been a while since we had a like school holiday or whatnot? We're in that stretch going into Thanksgiving
Uh-huh.
where teachers get a little crazy.
I had yesterday off because I had a stomach flu, so I was off from
But
school
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. No. You can still have days off because you're sick.
Yeah,
But this is that stretch of the year. There are two stretches of the year where teachers wind up going a little bit crazy.
right. For me, it was always after Christmas, before spring break, right? That stretch of time from
That's the second stretch.
Yep.
That's the second. Uh, and there's a little bit at the end of the year stretch where we go crazy, but generally we're pretty focused there. So it's really because there are two times where we go like an extended period where there aren't any random days off.
Right.
There's like really no random days off for most of October and all of November until Thanksgiving. And there's really no random days off between, depending on the school, Martin Luther King Day or President's Day and Thanksgiving.
Right.
Or not Thanksgiving, spring break,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there are two periods where there's like more than a month where we have, and I know people out working in the real world are going to go, oh, duh, you had to work a whole 5 days in a week. Well, come teach, come deal with high schoolers for 5 days in a
It's
week.
it's probably the
I've
most
worked in the
stressful.
real world too. This is just as tiring,
It's hard.
maybe more so.
It's hard. And there's a reason that we get summers off because we're burnt out. Teachers especially need the summers off than students, I think. Yeah, but to your point, in Minnesota, we get MEA, which is Minnesota Educationers Association, and then they have a meeting supposedly that we're supposed to go to as teachers in the Twin Cities, but nobody ever goes to it. So we just get Thursday and Friday off, which was like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So we do in Minnesota.
But then
we do
probably nothing between that and Thanksgiving.
right. Yep.
So it was 2 weeks ago. So mid-October.
Yep.
So you've got like a month there with no extra days off.
Yep. And that's when I went to go to Chicago is when I had
Yeah. Okay.
those 2 days off.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Anywho,
So yeah, that's a little insight into teachers and the times when we're loopy. We're
I know.
loopy when we have to spend every day with kids.
uh-huh. But now we're in November, so Thanksgiving's coming up. I can see it on the horizon.
Yeah. It's like 3 weeks from now.
Well, my play that I'm in opens this week, so this is like hell week. It's been
Okay.
horrible as far as not horrible as the play. I love the play and I love acting
Right.
and that's fun. But as far as like the amount of play practice that we've had, like today,
So you got a perfectionist director.
she's just concerned that we're not where we should be at this point when we've got 5 days till we open.
She doesn't realize that she's not paying you at real jobs.
Nope. Anyway, so
Hopefully, she doesn't listen to your podcast.
all weekend long, like
I'm making generalizations.
she doesn't.
I have discovered through the years that there are two types of community theater directors: the ones that want to treat it like it's absolutely professional,
Yep.
and the ones that are aware that it's community theater, so there's such thing as good enough.
She's in between.
Okay.
She's in between. Like I have gotten no bad feedback about my own part. I have two parts, so about my own parts. But other people have gotten lectured about their lack of commitment to coming to rehearsals for one, and then secondly, learning their lines.
Yeah.
But
and you know, that's where you gotta sometimes sit back and go, how many people are in Laverne?
exactly
I
5,000.
don't I don't have a lot to choose from.
Yep.
There are 5,000 people in Laverne. How many of them want to do community theater? And if
Um,
you're lucky, one
two.
in 10.
Yeah. I don't know what that comes out. I don't know what that comes out to, but we had about 30 people
That'd be
audition.
500.
Yeah.
1 in 10 would be 500.
Would it? Okay, so it's way
Yeah.
less than that.
Well, I mean, no, there might people who would that are interested that didn't come to audition,
Yeah.
either because they didn't know or they didn't think they'd make it or whatever. But so if we're now assuming that you have a maximum size talent pool of 500 people,
Mm-hmm.
and how many roles are there in the play?
About 20.
Okay, so you need one in every 25 of that 500 people in your play.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're not gonna have everybody be Laurence Olivier
That's true.
or 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 even Kevin Costner,
Yeah.
who can play Kevin Costner.
Yeah, he could
Don't
just
get
play
me wrong, he
himself.
plays Kevin Costner really well,
Yeah.
but that's what he does. He plays Kevin Costner. If
Speaking
the
of
role
Kevin
calls for
Costner,
Kevin
I
Costner,
watched
he's amazing.
Waterworld the other day. That was a good movie.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, but but it is a movie where he could be Kevin Costner.
Yeah, he is.
But then there's like Robin Hood, where he's Kevin Costner playing an Englishman.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. Yep.
or Dances with Wolves, which I love, but it's Kevin Costner trying to be a Native American.
You're right.
You know, he's brilliant in things like Bull Durham and Tin Cup, and even Untouchables. He was amazing in, because Elliot Ness is pretty much an everyman, and that's what Kevin Costner is. He's just an everyman. If he's playing an everyman, done.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this isn't supposed to even be like bashing Kevin Costner. You know, if you've got somebody that you know can play this type of role, that's a great thing. I mean, if you had a community theater and you knew this type of role, which is actually a really common role, all I need to do is call Tyler up and convince him to be in the play. That would be an incredibly valuable resource.
That's what happened with the last play that I auditioned for that didn't get it, which was Alice in Wonderland. She had
Right.
these ideas already about who she wanted to cast, and she just kind of handpicked
Well, I
people.
mean, if you've been doing it for a while and you know the people who come out, you start to get the idea of who can do what.
Yep.
And you should have ideas. You know, you have the auditions because you don't want to miss out on new talent, because again, there's a very limited talent pool. But when you're picking the play, you should already be thinking about, who do I have who I'm likely to be able to get to play this role?
Right.
Because you don't necessarily want to go into auditions having no idea whether you have anybody who's capable of playing the Mad Hatter.
Right. I agree.
You know, you don't want to come out of auditions and go, oh shit, I need to change the play. We're not doing Alice in Wonderland anymore. We're doing
We can't find a good Alice.
right. There's nobody in town that can play Alice. I mean, the challenges of the smaller pool.
Yeah.
No,
No.
see, this is how I take my logical / statistical brain and apply it to the arts.
I play the mayor, and I come up with this crazy idea to get our town recognized on the vacation destination map by coming up with the largest pair of underwear. And
Okay.
we make this pair of underwear that's 20 feet wide by 40 feet high, and it's hanging from the rafters.
Now, I mean, if you really wanted to put yourself on the map,
Mhm.
it would be the largest thong.
I know. And these ladies talk about it, about what they're going to make. And the whole conversation is very female centered around women's underwear, women's shaving. They talk a lot about like what the difference between a Brazilian is and what a Hollywood is. And this one lady,
Wow.
this
So what you're saying is you're going to have one performance, and then you're going to be shut down by the people who say that the play is obscene.
Yeah, we're not gonna get shut down, but we will have a lot of critics because it is raunchy.
Well, I mean, don't count on not getting shut down. I mean, is your mayor a Republican? Do the Moms for Liberty have his ear?
I don't know. Yes,
Anyway,
the mayor is Republican. Yes, but
so
I think
make that first performance banger.
I know. Wouldn't that be fun just to say that your play got shut down because it was so.
Yeah, it would. It would.
It'd be something to talk about. Take a lot of the
Uh,
pressure off me. Just got to do it once instead of 6 times. But anyway, so they come up.
yeah,
with
let's get into news.
Let's do it. What's going on
Let's
this
get
week?
into news. Well, I mean, Israel, Palestine, Ukraine,
Trouble
and
in the Middle East. You could say that at any point in history, and it would be true. Trouble in the Middle East.
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, we like to think that, but there have been long periods of harmony in the Middle East. It's really the last 70 years
Uh-huh. You're right.
that I've actually been listening to a book called Enemies and Neighbors that traces the history from um 1917 through 2017.
Okay.
And what you see is,
So the cat moved your microphone. It's a little hard to hear you.
of course he did.
There you go. You're back.
What you see is just a long history of both sides making really questionable decisions
Mhm.
for not necessarily terrible reasons, but certainly very self-centered and short-sighted
Mhm.
reasons,
Right.
which is a little bit of what's going on now. I mean, obviously, what happened on October 7th was horrible.
Mhm.
Um, and doing everything you can to eliminate Hamas is necessary.
Mhm.
Carpet bombing Gaza is kind of it's like you could successfully eliminate Hamas, but are you going to create the next Hamas?
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Um, and of course I threw Ukraine in because yeah, wisely, um, the White House and the Senate, including the Republicans in the Senate, have been trying to tie um, money for Israel, money to Ukraine, and even border security into one bill because they all have to do with our national security. So it makes sense. But of course, the House Republicans are pro Russia. Um, so they want to sever it. And what's more is they passed this wonderful bill for aid to Israel, but they decided that the deficit's too high, so they need to offset it. So the way they want to offset it is to take money from the IRS to send to Israel. Now let's do just like a basic word problem in math.
Mm-hmm.
You're running a movie theater, and people are starting to complain that the theaters aren't being cleaned out well enough between shows.
Right.
And you don't feel like you've got money to hire another, janitor type. So you decide that you need to reallocate your resources, and you decide that you're not going to have anybody take tickets anymore. You're going to make that on the honor system. People will buy tickets, but we won't actually check to make certain they bought tickets
Okay.
because we need to take that person to clean up the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, even if you wound up having more people come because the theaters were cleaner, that you would actually make more money? Or do you think maybe you would wind up making less money because when they discovered that nobody was going to check whether or not they paid, many people would decide not to pay?
Yes. Correct. We'd lose money.
That's what happens when you take money away from the IRS.
Right.
Money spent on the IRS is money spent collecting taxes. If you spend less money collecting taxes, it becomes easier for people, particularly very rich people, not to pay their taxes.
Mm-hmm. I follow.
Here ends the math lesson. Mike Johnson wants to think that only in Washington can you cut spending and increase the deficit.
Right.
I think I have just illustrated that it's not only in Washington, it's at any movie theater or ballpark or how about this? What if Best Buy decided we need those cashiers cleaning the store and or selling product? We're going to a strictly self-checkout situation, and we're not even going to put somebody there to make certain that you self-checked out.
Right. Yeah, you'd
Once
be losing.
again,
You'd be losing money
do
like
you
crazy.
think they would increase profits because they cut spending on cashiers? Or do you think they would decrease profits because more walked out the door?
I agree.
So this leads into point 2, which is the chair has been filled, and the more we know, it gets
Way worse.
the worse it gets.
Oh, I know. Mike is a garbage person.
I don't feel like going through the whole thing because I'm ready to get into comics, but I encourage everybody. I mean, I think that Status Quo, which is Status Quo KUO, which is a Substack from a guy named Jay Quo, who's a lawyer and playwright. He actually did the he wrote the music for George Takei's musical.
Okay.
And he's also the issue director of George Takei Substack, which is also worth. But Jay did a quick article, well, relatively quick article on Mike Johnson on November 2nd. So that would have been what, Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, Thursday.
Today's the 4th, so Thursday.
Yeah. So Speaker Mike Johnson's past holds many unanswered questions, and just the quick things that he threw in was, wait, he has a black son? Out damned hate. What's with the right-wing leaders and male sexual abuse? This really needs a mic check. That was for, according to his financial disclosures, since he came to Congress, he has no assets. He has no bank account. He has no savings account. He claims not to have any property. He gets paid $200,000 a year, but somehow he has
nothing.
No assets. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth a read. Like I said, the
Okay.
Status Quo. I don't feel like getting into it incredibly more, but the more we find out about this guy, the more ridiculously creepy he is.
Yeah. I agree.
And this is where everybody needs to be reminded he's also second in line to the presidency right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, comic news.
Yeah.
I am excited about this because I am excited about anything that I think will put comics in the hands of more people.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder about a couple of the decisions they made in terms of the books they're planning to kick it off with, because um, DC has announced that they're going to put out a line of compact comics, graphic
Okay.
novels. So they're going to be 5.5 inches wide and 8.5 inches tall. So like a standard book trade paperback
Mm-hmm.
size.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll fit nicely on shelves and tables at bookstores or in airports or train stations, etc. Um, I mean, just the size makes it a lot easier to place in a lot of bookstores. Makes it easier to carry around. It cuts the price down to $9.99, um, which also makes it more likely that somebody would go, "Oh, that looks kind of cool. I'm gonna grab that and read it on my train ride because $10, and if I don't like it, I leave it on the train."
Yeah.
Um, but the thing about taking existing work and changing the size format is how much will it work in the different size. I mean, you can almost always get bigger, but sometimes it's hard to get smaller.
Right.
So I'm just going to run down the titles to you, and I want you to give me thoughts on. I mean, because you're our visual guy,
Yeah.
and I think you've read most of these.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
there's one or two that you might not have, but Watchmen,
Yeah. That would be hard to read smaller because
Batman,
yeah, go ahead.
Batman: The Court of Owls,
Hmm.
All-Star Superman, Far Sector, Wonder Woman Earth 1, American Vampire Book 1,
Nice.
Batman Hush, Joker, Harley Quinn and the Gotham City Sirens, and Catwoman Trail of the Catwoman by Darwin Cook and Ed Brubaker.
Great titles to introduce new fans to. But
Absolutely.
but uh, the one that really stands out to me is Watchmen being shrunk down
Yeah.
because of the artwork. Just
Well,
being
and it's both 9 panel grids and text heavy.
yeah, especially that B story, right? Of
Right.
the
Right.
the script. I think it's written out like a
Well, but that might. Yeah, I don't remember if it's written out. That could be interesting. Um,
because I think it was like if I remember right, it's on my
I thought it
shelf.
was typed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was typed, but
It doesn't matter. But I just feel like
but
it'll be.
also there are plenty of people who read the Watchmen and skip the B story.
I know.
I mean, for that matter, I wouldn't blame them if for this edition they cut the B story.
True.
You know, but the rest of it is still 9 panel grids and text heavy.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so yeah, I think it'll be interesting. The other one that among the ones that I've read that I really wonder about is Joker,
Mm-hmm.
because Joker by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermeo, again, great, but um,
If I remember right, the artwork is really bizarre.
dark.
Yeah.
Well, but it's also just really dark.
Yeah.
So you sometimes have to, and I mean dark in like the dark versus light
Yep.
color.
Yep. It's colored. It's colored very
I know,
darkly.
but I'm trying to make certain that I explain to our because obviously it's a dark story as well. But I'm talking about the art is filled with shadows, even on a big page. Sometimes you kind of have to like
Yep.
move your head closer to the page to be able to see what's going on because um. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. Shrunk,
Mm. True.
you know.
I'm interested in picking one or two of these up and seeing
Yeah.
how they
Oh,
look.
I definitely will be. I mean, I guarantee you that I'll pick up All Star Superman, Far Sector, and Catwoman.
See, and I will pick up the Court of Owls, Joker, and even though I already own all of them, but the one we were just talking about.
Well, we are just talking about Joker.
No, before that. It's just
Watchmen.
Watchmen. Jeez, I don't know why that went out of my head. Watchmen.
See,
Those are the three I'll be buying. But
I will be picking them up off the shelf and deciding whether or not I think that they're readable
oh,
before I buy them.
see, I'm
I'm
more interested in the titles that I like.
yeah, I'm confident enough that I think Far Sector, Catwoman, and All Star Superman could be easily translated to this format.
Uh huh.
That I'm more willing to like grab them sight unseen to just have reader copies to lend to people or to throw in my bag because I want to read it physically today. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
Um, I mean, I like this too because it would make it that much easier to put in a classroom library because they'd fit on the shelf,
Better.
you know, neatly next to the other books you have in your classroom library, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I think about the initial choices, and it'll be interesting to see how they actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here, let me share my screen because this picture has this is the current trade, and this is what it'll be.
Oh wow, that is quite a bit smaller.
I mean, think about how much I talk about liking the absolute editions because you're essentially going the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you can't carry an absolute edition around with you. An absolute edition is for people who are already big time fans of the book, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
I love it.
I love the concept.
Yeah.
I love the concept. I mean, my biggest fear about there being ones right off the bat that I worry about how they'll translate
Yeah.
is I love the concept and I don't want them to abandon it because they have mediocre sales on a book that just wasn't designed to be put in that format.
I agree. I like
I
the
don't
idea of
think
making
Watchmen
smaller
is
ones.
going to sell as well as they think it will because I think a lot of people will see it and pick it up. And as soon as they start looking at it, they'll go, oh, this is going to be a nightmare to try to read on a train or on the plane or whatnot. And it's going to turn them off.
I know. I agree.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Again, I love anytime comic companies try to do things to reach people who aren't currently reading comics,
Mm-hmm.
not just try to get the comic readers to buy more stuff or whatnot, but to bring in new readers. So
Mm-hmm. I agree. Maybe I missed it. What's the date that these are dropping?
they'll start coming out next year.
Next year. Okay.
Yeah, I think not even until June for the earliest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's the list for next year, but they're not like. Here, let me pull it up again. Because I just closed the tab. Buh, 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 buh. This is launch in 2024. I also like the price point, particularly as graphic novel. Yeah, June of 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, being under
Particularly
$10 will really appeal to
as
people.
so many graphic novels have been getting really, really expensive, which again, I want creators to get paid. So I'm not actually complaining
Yep.
a ton about graphic novels becoming expensive. Um, but you also need to have ways to bring people in. So yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
So
All right. So let's go on to what's new to order.
yeah, particularly because we just took a lot of time up. Wow. Yeah, new to order. We've got the Acid Chimp Business Dog, Blue Book 1947. If you find this, I'm already dead. Jill and the Killers, Kill All Immortals, Lilo and Stitch, Moon Man, Pine and Merrimack, Pack, Into the Storm, Sunshine Patriot, The Weatherman Volume 3, and Zorro Man of the Dead all have their first issues in the current previews catalog. Today, I'm just going to leave it at, if any of that appealed to you, go look it up on your own.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk more about it sometime when we haven't taken a ton of time with Tyler's play and the politics of the world
That's okay.
and like 10 minutes on a new comic format. So I mean, we're normally halfway into Great Responsibility right now, and we haven't even gotten to three amazing books.
That's okay. That's okay.
It is, but I'm just explaining quickly why I'm shooting through new to order stuff. There's also the Deadly Class Compendium, Godfell Hypericum, In Utero, K is in Trouble, Click Click Boom, Luna and the Special Night, Lunar New Year Love Story, the Osamu Tezuka Story, A Life in Manga and Anime, TMNT, Usaga Yojimbo, Where When, Tokyo These Days, and Won't Back Down, the anthology of comics edited by Trina Robbins to support Planned Parenthood. I will spend a little bit more time. Final order cutoff is next weekend for Beyond Real from Zach Kaplan, Fabiano Mascalo, Tony Fejula, Vincente Riccardi, Dennis Menhir, Jorge Corona, and Liana Kangas, and John Pearson at Vault Comics. Go back and listen to our interview with Zach on this one, and we'll be talking to him again, I think, at the end of the month. This is like, are you familiar with simulation theory?
No. Sounds interesting, though.
Simulation theory is like the Matrix, the idea that
we're living in a Matrix.
Well, that we're living in somebody else's simulation.
Okay, got it.
Right. So
I'm on board. I like it.
Zach takes that to like the nth degree.
Okay.
It's like we're a simulation inside of a simulation inside of a simulation inside of a simulation inside of a simulation, etc. And there's somebody from our world who's trying to get up to the source to save her boyfriend because they'd been in a car accident and it jarred her into like the next level, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So she's on a journey to try to get to the source but what's awesome is the reason I read off so many artists is each level of the simulation has a different artist. So it's not like a different artist for each book.
Right.
It's a 5-issue series with 7 different artists. It's sometimes multiple artists inside of the book because each level of the simulation
got it
is from a different artist.
That's cool.
And it's an awesome story to begin with, but it's just a beautiful book. When I talked about it, when I talked to him last, I'd only seen the preview pages, but I've seen the first 3 issues now, and it's amazing.
Okay.
It's also going back to what I was talking about loving when comic companies do things to try to get things in people's hands. It's really important. It's final order cutoff is coming up, but tell your comic shops the first 25 copies of this that they order, Vault is giving them for free.
Wow.
Vault believes in this book enough that they're essentially letting all of the profits from up to 25 copies per store go to the store to get them to order higher, to hand sell it, to get it into more people's hands because they believe in it enough that if people read it, they're going to want issue 2. Actually, they did this week had the first example of them doing that. They did it with a book called oh, I forgot to move my honorable mentions. Okay, give me 30 seconds. Phil.
All right. So it's Unnatural Order was the book you were looking for?
Yeah. The new Chris Yost book at Vault is another one that they believed in so much that they gave copies to stores. So it's
That's
going to
awesome.
be, I mean, these are the first two. I mean, I think it could wind up being a brilliant marketing decision where they go, okay, we're gonna. I mean, I need to know more about um, the cost of printing, et cetera, to
Hmm.
know exactly how much money they're essentially spending on marketing.
Right.
But it seems like I mean, because comics is so word of mouth,
Hmm.
it seems like one of the best ways you could market is to do something to get copies of your book into as many people's hands as possible. And I think the fact that they don't just make it free, they make it free to retailers, which means the retailers don't have to give it away. The retailers can still sell it.
Hmm.
But now, if the retailer reads it and likes it and decides to hand sell it, to go through their pull list and go, this person would like it, this person would like it, to pitch it at the counter, that sort of thing. Now, rather than making $2 on it, they're making $4 on it.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So it's both a way to get it into more hands and a way to encourage retailers to start the word of mouth.
Hmm.
I hope it works out. It would be great to see more of this happen.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, and then the other final order cut off America Andolfo's distillery book, Blasphemous,
Hmm.
um, which seems like it's a spin on the sell your soul to the devil
Hmm.
type thing.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
kind of got out of it when I was looking it over.
only in the current, influencer age.
Hmm.
Kickstarter's worth looking at. Deathstalker from Slash, Tim Seeley, Jim Terry, Steve Kostansky from Vault. You've got until November 10th, so you've got 6 days. Right before the end of this campaign, we'll actually be talking to Tim Seeley and Jim Terry. We've got them lined up for Thursday. Um, Rogue's Kingdom, which is a fantasy thing from James Robinson of um, Starman fame,
Hmm.
and Jeff Johnson. Looks really cool. Suddenly, One Summer Camp from Hell, number one, 1971 to 1974, from Shelley Bond and Liz Prince, is somehow not fully funded yet, which blows my mind because it looks amazing. It's not expensive, and you'll get yours by the end of the year. So you can like do it as a Christmas present. Um, yeah, got till November 14th. Suddenly One Summer Camp from Hell. Shelley Bond, Liz Prince, go back it. $3 for the digital, I think. 7 for the
I'm looking it up right now.
yeah. And then Shelley does fantastic swag, so I'm actually at the highest level. I'm giving him 25 because I want all the stickers and whatnot because
Right.
she does like really awesome swag. But yeah,
She's just over
so
halfway there.
buttons. Yeah. So buttons, film school number 13. We just talked to Jonathan Bayless. I was like a puppy dog with a room full of wild animals. It was an interesting interview. Jonathan seemed to have fun, but I felt like I was look, a squirrel. The thing I like about squirrels is an elephant. Elephants are great. Whale.
Were you were you jumping all over the place?
I was, and I didn't finish. I mean, like the next morning when I'd had some sleep, etc., and I woke up, I'm like, I don't think I finished this thought or this thought or this. Like I started a thread and then completely fell. I literally wound up sending an apology email to Jonathan,
No, funny.
who actually just thought it was fun. He had a good time.
Okay. Good deal.
But yeah, it's definitely one of the more manic episodes. So if you haven't listened to it yet and you're somebody who hates it when I'm like that, that might be one to skip.
At least there's a warning. At least you give him a forewarning.
Um, and then Thorn, the complete proto bone from Jeff Smith.
Oh, looking forward to that one.
We've got till November 17th. It's already fully funded. They're hitting stretch goal after stretch goal. It looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tyler, three amazing new books, and I loved your first two.
My first one is Usagi Yojimbo Ice and Snow #2 from Stan Sakai. It's actually Usagi Yojimbo. They kind of do the legacy numbering like Marvel does. This would be number 271.
Yep.
If anyone's interested. But I really like the story about where it's going. I love Stan Sakai's artwork. There's just so much like comfort in it. You know what I mean? It's just so bright, and even though it's a dark story, this is, a little bit darker than some of the Usagi stories, but
well, I mean, he's got a long running thing with this particular demon.
Yep.
Or at least the one that's like long-haired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we've seen this darkness before, and it's certainly one of the great long-term threads in Usagi.
Mm-hmm.
So
liking it.
I'm enjoying it a lot too.
Me too. And then my second pick, this one was a lot of fun because it's a silent comic, which was it's Jeff.
Jeff is just so good.
The Jeff verse #1.
Yeah, I love Jeff.
I love Kelly Thompson's work. I was telling my wife about it that we had
Gurihiru's art.
Yep, Gurihiru is just
for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Not much to say about it because, like I said, it's a silent comic, so it's just Jeff and all these different weird
Jeff
adventures.
is a land shark who gets into all sorts of trouble with the Marvel superheroes, and hijinks and hilarity ensue.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. My favorite, though, is he's so hungry and he can't get a snack anywhere, and so he just makes himself into a garbage container. Yeah. People just dump food into him.
Yep.
That was one of my favorites.
Yep.
It's just cute. You know what I mean? Squirrel Girl makes an appearance in here.
Yeah. It's adorable. Well, and Kate Bishop is like his best friend.
Yep.
Yeah. Jeff is just adorable.
Yeah, I'm really liking it.
And comics should be just fun sometimes.
And that's just it. It's not deep. It's not crazy. You can buy this one and done issue, and that's all you need if you're unfamiliar with It's Jeff or the Jeff universe, and just go with it. And then my third pick was another intellectual property that I really like. I know I do these like every week, but Masters of the Universe, Forge of Destiny by Tim Seeley and Eddie Nunez from Dark Horse Comics. It's just really good. I just like He-Man stories. They're just fun. They remind me of my childhood, and I like the artwork a lot. I mean, Tim Seeley's no slouch either. But, yeah, I'm excited to see where this one goes and how it finishes up. What about you, Tad? What are three amazing new books for you this week?
The Hassan Atzman El Hao and Juni Ba graphic novel, The Unlikely Story of Felix and Macabre, came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 1 part Monsters Inc. and 1 part Up, and all Juni Ba and Hassan, and throw in some wrestling and some
Mm-hmm.
I really dig it. And then Red Light from Sarah Cho and Priscilla Petraides. I was excited for this just based on the concept. The whole AI high-end prostitutes.
Yep.
Priscilla Petraides does sexy action really well, so you knew the art was going to be amazing. There winds up being a twist that makes me like it even more. It looks like it's going to be a real exploration of empathy.
Okay.
And Traveling to Mars, #9, Mark Russell and Roberto Melli. 2 issues from the end.
I was going to ask you how long this is.
It's going to be 11.
That's interesting.
I was actually emailing with Mark. So it's 11, which, is a really odd number for it to be, but that's what it is. It's 11. And he said in the email, and I don't completely disagree, that he thinks when it's done, it might wind up being the best thing he's ever done. Um, yeah, I've loved this story every step of the way. We're on Mars now, and man, is there a twist? I mean, we got the initial twist at the end of the issue 8, and is explored more now. And I actually feel like we're kind of in a, to Soundgarden was like fantastic at false endings.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You think the song's over, and then they slam into a little bit more. I feel like that's kind of what happened here on this issue 9. I'm really curious to see what issue 10 brings, because I trust Mark as a writer. We wouldn't have more if there wasn't need for more. And the book doesn't quite end, but it could have.
Yeah. I've already got my trade paperback on pre-order.
Right. So yeah, no, this was just it's been an absolutely amazing ride.
Yeah.
And this issue was fantastic. So
Awesome.
let's talk some Inkle. Should
Yeah.
we finish it up?
Yeah. So we are reading for a great responsibility. We're reading the French comic The Incal. And you know what's funny? I just noticed this because this literally popped up today. I had a Facebook reminder of something I posted years ago. Have you ever had that where, that pops up? Well, anyway, and it was a quote that I posted by Jodorowsky, the film director. And I was just like, it popped up today, 5 years ago. You posted this. And I'm going, how ironic. I'm reading this book. I don't remember what the quote was, though. I'd have to find it, yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. I just thought that was very interesting.
No, that's awesome, actually.
That
Um,
Alejandro Jodorowsky.
that that you weren't as disconnected from it as you thought you were.
No,
I love
exactly.
synchronicity like that.
Exactly. I mean, I was aware of the film director, obviously 5 years ago, but not of
Right.
this comic book.
Yeah.
So we're reading The Inkle by Alejandro Jodorowsky and art by Mobius. I said Morbius. Thinking of the
Uh,
living vampire Mobius.
Anybody listening who is a reader,
Mm-hmm.
but I since I had finished reading the Inkle for last week, and had also read it a couple of times before, I spent this week going and reading some reviews or whatnot of it. Um, so if we're not doing a good enough job making you interested or having you know what it is, um, Louis Halad at the Beat does a column called Mint Condition, where he reads books that the the intro to Mint Condition is: we all have gaps in our pop culture knowledge, those omissions that elicit gasps from our fellow funny book connoisseurs. For me, those gaps are vast and constitute anything outside of DC Comics proper. I'm on a mission to rectify my comics knowledge shortcomings and to provide a fresh take on classic stories that others have known for years. The comics may be old, but my mind is still fresh, wrapped in plastic, and sitting on the shelf waiting to be opened. Welcome to Mint Condition. So he he did it in 2019, but you can still, still up at the Beat. Heidi McDonald's fantastic comics culture news site, comicsbeat.com. He read and reviewed the Inkle, and again, we've had trouble figuring out how to talk about this. So if you feel like you're still lost from our talks, go read his article. He did a
It
good
is
job.
a hard one to talk about. I mean, it's a story about a man named John DeFool who's a detective.
Which is a perfect name for him.
Yeah.
John DeFool.
Mm-hmm. I think it's hilarious. I mean, the
Yeah.
the innuendos are funny, and are they shadow eggs? What the part we're at now, like in the what is above
Yeah.
section,
that the shadow eggs that can like eat the sun.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with right now. I mean, it's a very sci-fi story. So I mean, I agree with you. I don't really think we're doing it justice by our description of the story. But
I
it's
mean, I think uh, I would think one of the reasons why it's such a favorite of so many comics creators. Um, I don't think there's a way to do it justice. I think the only way to do it justice is to read it.
yeah,
Mobius's art is both like amazing and like you've never seen before, but also built on such strong comic foundations that the storytelling is really good, except that Jodorowsky is this brilliant, brilliant mind who thinks of all sorts of different things. So he's trying to talk about metaphysics and the existence of God and class systems and all of it all at once.
yes. One of my criticisms is that I feel like there's a lot of threads that don't get tied up anywhere.
And for me, I don't know if I would make that statement, but I don't know if I would consider that a criticism.
Okay.
For me, I feel like that's almost a feature, not a bug.
Okay.
Um, I mean, first of all, because the Incal has sprouted an entire universe.
Mm-hmm.
But second of all, because in particularly given that it deals with metaphysics and religion and class system and government and it
Yep.
deals with the entirety of experience in the world.
Correct.
I mean, it deals with climate change. It deals, they used up their resource. I mean, um, there aren't neat endings.
True.
There aren't neat endings.
Yeah.
You
I
can
just have
choose
to
a
change.
you
I
can
think I
choose
just
a
got to.
starting point and you can choose an ending point, but there's not everything starts together and not everything ends together.
Right.
Um, but again, that's not something we're used to in comics. It's
Right.
not something we're used to in storytelling, period.
We're used to that in certain movies, certain artsy movies, right? That will do that.
Well, and that's where Jodorowsky, having been
A
a
film director.
filmmaker,
Yeah.
and for that matter, and I didn't have time to do it, but uh, the mint condition article actually, and he's like, I'll read the skinny. To understand the Inkle and its place in the creative world, you really must begin by watching the incredible documentary Jodorowsky's Dune, which premiered at the 2013 Cannes Film Festival. Normally, I would recommend that a printed art stand on its own, but the film is the best path to appreciate the contextual importance and strange origins of this very odd tale. It's 90 minutes that will blow your mind. In a nutshell, the documentary centers around Chilean-French filmmaker Alejandro Jodorowsky laying out his grand vision to make a movie of Frank Herbert's Dune back in 1975. Jodorowsky had hired a small team of artists like the French cartoonist Mobius, the Swiss painter H.R. Geiger, to begin designing the sets and costumes and to lay out the scenes according to his over-imaginative interpretation of the source work. He commissioned British sci-fi cover artist Chris Foss to design the huge starships that would carry the viewer across galaxies using groundbreaking visual technologies. Jodorowsky swung for the fences on the entire project, assembling an implausible cast that included big names like Mick Jagger and Salvador Dali. His ideas were spiritual, psychedelic, lurid, and absolutely nothing like the book that it was supposedly adapting. The anticipated runtime of the movie expanded until it was more than 10 hours.
Holy buckets.
In the end, funding dried up during pre-production as studios were reluctant to take on the project. The entire film was scrapped, the movie rights were sold, and this iteration of Dune got only as far as a giant stack of intricate storyboards.
Wow.
Those storyboards became the Incal.
That's awesome. I want to watch that.
So, yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna be watching that. It's like $5 on Amazon.
Is it? Okay.
So, yeah, I will definitely be buying and watching that documentary at some point sooner rather than later. Um, but realizing that it came from like that made it make so much more sense. He'd started with somebody else's incredibly detailed, massive world.
Mm-hmm.
And in adapting it, created his own, but not just adapting it personally. He clearly was bringing together all sorts of minds to, you know, real collaboration brings amazing and often batshit crazy things because I think differently from you and Kelly thinks differently from us. And
Yep.
if we're actually all listening to each other and trying to understand things together, it becomes just so even just reading that gave me a better sense of, oh, now it makes sense. It's not just Jodorowsky's crazy mind and Mobius trying to interpret it. A, they were probably working much closer together than that. But B, before they even worked on this together, they'd spent time working on that together.
Right.
Um, but it does. I mean, what'd you think of the twist at the end? I don't think we should give it away. But what'd you think of the very end?
I'm gonna go to it right now just so I can. I liked
Uh,
it.
oh, when essentially he meets God.
Yep. I like it. I thought
I
it was
love
a.
it.
I thought it was a great ending. You know what I mean?
Uh,
How else would you?
Well, and then where it actually and we're ruining a little bit. I mean, this has
Where it
been out forever.
actually ends is him falling, but
Well, where it actually ends is right where it started,
yep, exactly.
which begs the question or dual questions.
Did it happen? Is that
Did it happen?
that was my first question?
Was it just rather than his life flashing before his eyes, was it, the
The whole story, and
his fictional thing flashing before his eyes as he's falling to his death?
right, that was my first
Um,
thought. Was that none of this happened?
but what I think actually happened is like, okay, you saved the universe, and because you saved the universe, we're going to return it to exactly what it was before you saved it.
Exactly. That would be another way to interpret that, which I think that works just as well. Actually, a better.
And I think that's actually the way it's supposed to be. I haven't read the final Inkle yet, but since there is stuff after this,
Yeah.
um, it'd be interesting to see when I'm reading that whether and actually, do you want to read that for next week?
The next.
I kind of want to know what comes next now.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because this one ends, if you remember, or talking about the beginning, where he falls off of, or he gets pushed off of a ledge. This is the beginning of
Yeah.
the whole story, and he's gonna land in this pool of acid, and then these hitmen, or I don't know if they're hitmen, but guys that are interrogating him, swoop down in their car and catch him at the last minute in their speeder, their Star Wars type speeder. They swoop down, catch him at the last minute. Now, at the end of the book, we're right back to him falling, and we don't know where it's going to end up. Are they going to swoop in at the last minute and start this all over? That was my first thought when I read this. And then, yeah, so I'm very interested to know where it goes from here. I can't hear you.
I get to. I said I think Final Inkle should be next, though. I
Yep.
do really want to get to a reread of these Savage Shores and listen to the audio production that Walt did.
Sure.
So let's kind of lock that in for 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Um, anything more you want to say about the Inkle right now?
I just really, and I'm more, here's the thing. I was not blown away by Jodorowsky's story because I'm more confused than I normally am when reading a comic book.
Yeah.
But Mobius's artwork really saved it and really kept me going throughout the whole thing. So even if it's a tough read for you, and it's not like I didn't like it because it was boring or anything like that. No, it's just a little bit higher
Convoluted.
reading level than your average story, and I think that's a
Yeah.
credit. I don't think that's
Yeah.
a diss.
And I'll say, having read it 3 times now,
Yeah.
um, I felt about it the way you felt about it after the first read.
Yeah.
And each read has gotten better because I haven't had to parse it all. There's
Mm-hmm.
been parts that I understood during the first run, which meant that I could focus on other parts during the second run. Now I understood more of it. So the third run I could focus on. I mean, I definitely think it's a book that's designed to be read and reread. Um, I think it would be shocking if anybody read it once and felt like they got everything
And they
they could
got it
possibly
right.
get out of it. Right.
I agree.
Um, I mean, I feel like this is the type of book that, like, literally every reading is gonna reveal another layer.
Mm-hmm. What was
It
the
might
name
actually
of
be fun.
David Foster Wallace's book? Um, that was like, I'm looking it up right. Infinite Jest.
Okay,
Have you read Infinite Jest?
I have not.
Okay, so that's a lot. Not in the way of story like the Incal. It's a completely different story. Um,
Right.
but in the you can't say that you've read it just once and say that you get it. It's super dense book, and yeah, this reminded me a lot of that as far as like um really need to take your time when going through it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the Inkle. I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't, like I said, I loved the experience of it. I'm gonna read it. Gonna reread it. That's for sure.
It might even be worth us revisiting it together, like a year from now or
I
two
was just
years from
thinking that,
now.
like in a year, we come back
Um,
and just
right.
see what our thoughts are.
Well, but like actually reread it again.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah. I mean, and I haven't actually read the final Inkle before. I have read before the Inkle, even relatively recently, but I haven't actually read the final Inkle before. Um,
I'm not look it up right now.
so I'm kind of, it's another one that's on Comixology Unlimited, so you don't have to buy anything.
That's what I'm looking for
Um,
right now.
otherwise, there was just a Humanoids Humble Bundle, so I've got PDFs and CBRs of all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
Actually, is there still a Humanoids Humble Bundle? Let me check if it's still going. If it's still going, we should definitely plug it. Uh,
What other stuff is that does Humanoids have out that's pretty good?
I mean, Humanoids does a lot of oh, it is still going. 14 days left.
Okay.
So here, I'll even go through what's in the Humanoids bundle right now.
Sure.
They've got the Inkle, they've got the Meta Barons, which is a spin-off from the Inkle. You know, we
Yep.
meet
The
the
Meta
Meta
Baron.
Baron in this. Um, Terry Dodson did art for a French guy named D.P. Filippi on a book called Muse. It's like a sexy period piece. Louisa Now and Then is a more recent book that Andy, Matt, and I are actually going to be doing a book club on soon. We've all read it. We just haven't managed to get
To record it.
time to record. Uh, they've got a book called Armies here, which looks like Roman times.
That's cool.
Uh,
Lo-
uh,
Roman history
uh,
is one of my favorite topics.
right. Well, and I can't tell for certain if it's actual history or if it's like fantasy that's grounded in that.
Yeah.
Um, the Twilight Man is a biography of Rod Serling and like Twilight Zone, etc.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a biography of Bela Lugosi, a book called Versailles, My Father's Palace, Tiki, A Very Rough Year about a dog, Thousand Faces. Exactly what that is. Thick Skins. More from the Inkalverse. Uh, Book called The Book of Chaos that looks like it might be a post-apocalyptic thing.
Mm-hmm.
A book called Swine that has a tagline: "Jesus left some unfinished business." Um,
That sounds good.
a book called River of Ink. Um, we actually talked about this with Ibrahim. Ibrahim Mustafa's Retroactive is through, and all of these titles that I'm throwing out right now are literally part of a humble bundle. So for $25, you can get everything that I'm listening in digital form and support the Freedom to Read Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Book called Retina, which looks like a sci-fi thing. Red Hand, Twilight of the Gods, looks like a swords and sorcery fantasy thing. Pandemonium looks like it's a horror thing. Omni was about a polyglot superhero. Uh, Off-World Blues looks like a space fantasy. Minneapolis Sound from friend of the podcast Joe Illage is a music book set in Minneapolis during the early Prince years. Miss Better Living Through Crime is a fantastic crime story set in like 20s or 30s U.S., but done by, it's a French comic.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we've got Marco, Ukrainian film fighter. Little Josephine is, I want to say, memoir, but kind of done in uh, Little Nemo style. Legends of the Pierced Veil is like a samurai type story. In Vitro is about veto fertilization.
Yep.
Um, yeah, we can keep going on. They're just a really
That's big.
they've got what Tim Seeley's Chronophage, which is his time travel thing. Um, they've got a really good mix of, I mean, because they're an offshoot of Les Humanoids, which is actually a French publisher.
Right.
So they've got a really good mix of really fantastic um, European and sometimes other parts of the world translated comics. Um, Sci-fi heavy, but not exclusively sci-fi,
Mm-hmm.
and um, American inspired, but more in line with. I mean, and I haven't read this one, but there's a book called Olympus that Jeff Johns wrote, but the artist, I mean, it's in like it's done as like the European folio, and the artists are European, or going the other way. Um, there's a book called and I have read this and I like it. I Am Legion. Fabian Nuri is somebody who works mostly in European comics, but it's John Cassaday art. It's John Cassaday doing a folio type thing. Um, so yeah, it is that kind of explained. And I like seriously, anybody who's interested in any of what we've I mean anybody who loves comics, period, but certainly anybody who's enjoyed any of our conversation of the Inkle, $25, and you can get yourself 102 volumes of various stuff, mostly European, different, I mean, for $25, if you find five of them that you like, it was worth it. I can't recommend it enough. And again, proceeds, or at least some proceeds, and you can adjust your donation to make it so a lot of proceeds go to the Freedom to Read Foundation, which nonprofit legal and educational organization affiliated with the American Library Association. Freedom to Read protects and defends the First Amendment to the Constitution and supports the rights of libraries to collect and individuals to access information, which we have talked about the need for that immensely.
Uh-huh.
So yeah,
Definitely.
there's my little ad.
Okay.
Go
Go check out Humanoids Bundle Pack, or what's it called? Humble Bundle.
Humble Bundle.
Yep.
I mean, really, Humble Bundle's a place to pay attention to for comics anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now they've also got a creepy comics collection from Dark Horse. They just put up a Rick and Morty collection from Oni. They've got a Doctor Who mega bundle. If you're into gaming, they often have gaming bundles,
Cool.
etc.
All right.
So
Well, I suppose we better move on. We're running real long here.
yeah, we should wrap up.
Yeah. So 3 books we hope
Wrap
will
up.
be spectacular. Tad, what are you looking forward to?
Uh, Enfield Gang Massacre #4.
Mm-hmm. This is part of that
Condon and
Texas
Phillips
Blood, right?
just yeah, Condon and Phillips just like they've reached a point where it's like they up their game every issue.
Mm-hmm.
For a while, they were upping their game every arc. This series
moving at a
feels like they're upping their game every
It's
issue.
moving at a faster pace for sure.
It's so good. Um, and then we're gonna do a Christopher Cantwell double feature. His Thanos #1 with Luca Pizzari comes out, as well as Star Trek Defiant #9. This one will be with Mike Feehan.
I'm looking forward to that Thanos book. I love Christopher Cantwell's Marvel stuff.
Yeah. I love Christopher Cantwell.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm looking forward to Thanos a lot.
And then I like cats. I like sci-fi, so I'm a fan of Captain Ginger and the third Captain Ginger series, The Last Fear, from Stuart Moore and Roy Richardson, is coming from Ahoy.
I had never heard of this before. Captain Ginger, huh? I'll have to check out the first 2 volumes.
There have been 2 volumes already.
Nice.
It's cats in space. Cats in space.
Okay.
I don't know if there's transitions from Elodie Durand about the parent trying to understand their child's, I don't want to say decision to switch genders, because that's not really how it works, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
It's a book that I've been looking forward to, and I just, and it comes out this week. Inside the Mind of Sherlock Holmes looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a couple of cool looking graphic novels coming out. Oh, and Static Up All Night, DC Milestone with Lamar Giles and Paris Aline. I'm excited because the DC YA books have been fantastic, and therefore I'm excited to see a Milestone story in that format.
In that, yeah, exactly. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So, and plenty of other stuff too.
There's lots of stuff coming out.
Time, so I'm going to get to you.
Okay.
Zoe Thorogood's on this creep show?
Yep.
I might have to go buy that.
Yep. Punisher #1 is my first pick, though. I love new Punisher series. Actually, I've been waiting for a good one. I didn't really like the hand and the fist.
I liked the Jason Aaron.
You did? Okay, I didn't like. I didn't really like that, but I'm looking forward to this new series. David Pepose,
yeah,
and Dave Watcher from Marvel.
Watcher. Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what you think. I didn't pull this one.
Okay. And then Something Crawled Out #1 from M. Sun and Cas Madcurse Pirano from Vault. And then my third one is, of course, Creepshow #3. I got to keep going with Creepshow. And this is Zoe Thorogood out by Skybound.
Zoe Thorogood is just... Did you read her Hack Slash?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
It's good. Yeah. She's doing good stuff. So, those are our books this week. We really appreciate you guys listening to the end of this.
Yeah.
If you're still
sorry
here,
we went a little wrong. We generally try to keep this one an hour, but we went all over the place this morning.
It's okay.
Squirrel. Elephant.
Ironically, there was Squirrel Girl in one of the comic books. Squirrel Girl.
Oh my God. Is that a Tyrannosaurus Rex? Did you know that they might have had feathers? Yeah.
It's funny.
It's fun.
All right.
And I will say, I am really proud of how it came out. So first, anybody, and I think some comic shops won't actually be getting it until Wednesday, but anybody who doesn't have, go absolutely try to get your hands on a Sano Sisters Halloween special.
Yeah.
But once you have, I'm really proud of how our audio version came out
Thanks
and
for
getting
getting all
good
those
feedback
recordings,
on
Tad.
it.
That was a lot to get.
Well, thanks for doing all the editing. That was also a lot.
We did it. We put
Um,
it all together.
well, and we know we know that the creators are happy with how it sounded.
That's good. I
But
was
we've been
worried about
getting
that
some other positive feedback too. So
because of the nature of how we did it, of where you recorded as you had people available. I was really worried about it sounding super choppy. You
it
know what I
did.
mean? I'm
It
glad
did.
it didn't.
It did a really good job of melding it together.
That's good.
So yeah,
That's good. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
yeah.
I definitely, if we do some kind of bigger production like that again, I do have it. I'm going to start earlier because I started a week
Well, and I think we also need to plan a little bit better how to.
execute, maybe.
Yeah.
Because what
I mean,
I
even if we don't wind up recording it all together, maybe I can learn the basic cutting and
pace,
whatnot, so that I can just give you the lines
yeah,
and label them accordingly, that sort of thing.
yeah.
Um,
What I did was, as you sent me all your files, I put them all in a folder, and then was like, okay, a week beforehand, I'm gonna get started on this and just do it all at once instead of a little bit here,
and
a little
you
bit there.
also neglected to look at the notes that told you what you were looking for.
I did. I I forgot. I just
And
started.
in order.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't give like time signatures because it's not easy to get that from Zoom, but I did like
Yep.
this is what you're looking for in this order.
You did a really good job. And it's funny though because after I read your notes, what I did versus your notes, it was virtually the same thing.
Right.
As I read your notes, because I went through it, every piece of audio you sent. Here's how I did it: I listened to it, cut out the talking in between, and then
Right.
just chopped out all of the actual recorded parts, and then
Right.
rearranged them like a puzzle, and then
Right.
went to the next recording and added in the right
Right.
parts again.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, I
But it was fun. It was fun. We learned a lot, which I think means that if we decided to do it again, we'd do a better job at. And I don't mean a better job because I think the end project came out really well. I don't know that we do a ton better job on the end product, but I think we would it would be easier for us.
uh-huh. Exactly. We would know
So,
what we need to do
right.
ahead of time. Anyway,
But
guys,
yeah, I had fun with it.
I did too. I'd want to do another one.
Yeah, I think we should. I think it's something that we could, we have enough friends that do Kickstarters now. We could almost start telling people that, they could offer it as like a stretch goal.
Interesting. That would be interesting. That would be fun. We'd probably have to make a lot of them then if somebody took us up on it.
Well, I mean, we don't have to say yes to everybody who asks us to,
Yep. That's fun. I would do it.
but I mean, it'd be fun to do it on something where, literally, that people worked to be able to have it happen.
Yeah. I did it one time for Detective Comics 1000. I was interviewing Doug Mankey, who did a story in there, and he
Right.
and his friend did a live read through of their
Oh, that's
story
fantastic.
in it.
Cool.
So that was way less like editing and stuff like that,
Right.
but it was still a fun read through done by
Yeah, no, it is fun.
yeah.
It is fun. I want to explore doing that more
Okay.
just because it's a cool thing to do. And it's along the lines of what Chris Condon and I did when we read our Daredevil issue together. Because
Exactly.
we read the issue,
Yep.
but we also did commentary on the issue. So yeah, we'll have to play with that because it's fun to experience comics in different ways.
Yep.
So
All right,
why don't you
guys.
take us out, Tyler?
All right. So we'll catch you guys after the next page. See ya. Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.